Hi, and welcome to our presentation track on preparing for a remote working world. As we look into what the future holds for remote working, we don't necessarily see it in the same way as we've been hearing in the press and a lot of people talking about as a result of the pandemic. We see there's been a lot of almost excitement about the fact that it's possible to work without coming into the office. And we hear a lot about permanent and complete remote working, but the future that we see doesn't pan out that way. We still see that having a hub, having an office is going to be really important. And whilst people may not be in the office 5 days a week, we feel that a lot of the hub of how and where we work will remain in the office. And what has to happen is there has to be smart collaboration whereby the hub itself is leveraged to help people who are both in the office and remote and moving between those two locations on a regular basis. And as you look at that, the technologies that you use in order to create smart, collaborative, remote but flexibly remote workforces has to bear a lot of thought and consideration. So when you think about this dynamic, the fact that you will have groups of people together leveraging resources that they can't have at home, at the same time collaborating with people who are remote, and those groups of people revolving because some will be in, some will be out of the office at different times. You have to think about how do you get them collaborating in a uniquely uniform manner. And as we look at that, there are certain technologies that you have to start really grasping and taking on board. We've all become used to collaborative software, things like Google Docs or Office 365, but there are a whole host of collaborative software products available now that really ensure that people, whether they're sitting at their desks in an office where they can still be quite isolated, or working in a cafe or working from home, are constantly collaborating on projects at the same time and being drawn together to communicate and leverage off of each other. At the same time as having collaborative software, you also need to think about how do you actually motivate people that are geographically dispersed. And companies are now even starting to turn to technologies like gamification as ways to keep people motivated, keep their spirits high, but at the same time, getting them to collaborate. And finally, probably the most important thing is smart conferencing facilities. What you're looking at now is having groups of people together that need to have tools to be able to interact in a very visual way with colleagues that are spread all over the place. And smart collaborative conferencing facilities that give you the visuals but also enable you to interact with whiteboards and send those whiteboard drawings out to colleagues that did not participate in the meetings are going to become increasingly important as we work on creating a future that deals with the remote workforce as we see it.